Variability in yield and quality is a major challenge facing Australian cherry growers. A recent project by the Tasmanian Institute of Agriculture, funded by Horticulture Innovation Australia, explored ways to manage that variability.
This project was phase 2 of a collaborative project with Washington State University, where we started out looking at crop load management for quality, and in phase 2 we expanded that to progress to more applied usage of plant growth regulators, both to improve fruit set in shy-bearing cultivars and to thin crop on oversetting cultivars. That was one major component. Another major component was to look at the carbohydrate and pollination physiology of fruitlet shedding, which can be a serious issue in some seasons and in some varieties. Another major aspect is tree and fruit nutrition. So we looked particularly at nitrogen nutrition, its impact on fruitfulness subsequent season, bud strength, fruit quality in the current season and how the fruit stores, as well as some micronutrient works. The overarching outcome of all aspects of the project was to improve the yield and quality of fruit.
The Institute's Dr. Joanna Jones explored the impact of cherry trees' carbohydrate reserves on fruitlet drop or abscission.
We did a variety of things in the field to try and measure carbohydrate levels and monitor any fluctuations that might be occurring, and then for years 2 and 3 put in some treatments which would regulate the amount of carbohydrate available. I guess the key outcome was that we got a really good understanding of carbohydrate fluctuations over the season in the trees, and we also had a clear indication of carbohydrate storage to different organs, and by doing the girdling, the trunk girdling, we could clearly show that we were disrupting that draw on reserves from the roots and also the transport of current carbohydrates back down to the roots at the end of the fruiting season.
Managing orchard nutrition is also critical for reliable yields, but information on optimal nutrient supply for cherries has previously been limited.
We wanted to understand the impact of nitrogen on cherry fruit quality, essentially, over a period of 3 seasons, and wanted to see how nitrogen interacted with water through irrigation, to see if we could try and increase fruit quality outcomes, have a look at where nitrogen went following fertigation and irrigation, and also whether we could make a distinction between pre-harvest and post-harvest nitrogen application. We found that when fruit nitrogen levels were within industry standard or recommendations, we found that even though we added significantly more nitrogen, we saw an increase in nitrogen in the fruit, but it had no impact on fruit quality. So yeah, it's sort of a take-home message there was that there's a bit of flexibility for growers in how they utilise their nitrogen, and that might depend on whether they're trying to get some vegetative growth or whether they're trying to avoid vegetative growth, that it doesn't really have a huge impact, or as bigger impact as we thought, if your nitrogen levels are okay to begin with.
Ultimately, one of the biggest factors affecting cherry growers' profitability is the amount of fruit set. Dr. Sally Bound's research focused on the potential to manage fruit set using plant bioregulators.
I was looking at 2 different aspects of crop load management. Some cherry cultivars are what we call shy bearers, very difficult to set fruit on, while some of the other cultivars actually set too much fruit, and if you leave all the fruit on, you end up with very small fruit and poor quality fruit. So the aim with those is to try and remove some of them.
There were some key takeouts for cherry growers.
If they want to improve fruit quality in the shy-bearing cultivars or improve crop load, I would strongly recommend retain application. And for the heavier bearing cultivars, because fruit quality is so important, particularly for export fruit, you do need to reduce your heavy crop loads. Not all seasons, it's not necessary in all seasons, but in some seasons you do get a lot of bunching of fruit. So if you can thin that out, then that's really beneficial to fruit quality.